So today we are commemorating the disappearance day of Srila Rupa Goswami. And so we'll chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas, which is on the final page of the songbook. Jaya Nila Prema Tanha Korana Prachu Jaya Nila Prema Tanha Koruna Prachu Henu Prabhuga Kota Gela Charya Thakur Henu Prabhu Kota Gela Charya Thakur Kamura Swarupa Kahasanatsan Kamora Swarupa Kahasanatsan Gadasura Gunatha Patita Pavan Kadasara Gunatha Patita Pavan Kamura Mata Yuga Kakakavi Raj Kamura Mata Yuga Kahagaviras Hakakele Kotakela Goranataras Ekakale Kotagela Goranataras Pashane Kutibonata Anale Pasibo Pashane Kutibomata Anale Pasibo Goranga Goner Nede Kotakele Pabo Koranga Gunera Nede Kotakele Pabo Say Sabah Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Vilas Say Sabha Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Vilas Say Sangana Paya Kande Naratam Udas Say Sangana Paya Kande Naratam Udas Jayatila Prema Dana Koruna Prachur Jayatila Prema Dana Koruna Prachur Jaya Jaya Thakur Jaya Thakur Jaya Jaya Thakur Jaya Jaya Thakur Jaya Thakur, Jaya Jaya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnupad. Paramahamsa Karavidakacharya, also Jetta, Satyashi Shimad, His Divine Grace. Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Vaishnav Vrindagajaya, Namacharya, Shrafida Stakur Gajaya. Prem say go Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrindagajaya Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kijai Vrindavanam Kijai Maturanam Kijai Jagadava Sami Kijai Yamunamai Kijai Shimati Lasi Devi Kijai Samaveda Bhakta Vrindagajai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the Shiguru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Budle Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Samadhi Chinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Nivishesha Shunyabadi Paschachate Tarni. So I'll read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love, and it was filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivas, Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna Das Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities, being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes? Narottama Das simply weeps. So today is the combined disappearance days of Srila Rupa Goswami and Gauridas Pandit. So first we're going to speak about Srila Rupa Goswami. Hopefully we'll get to Gauridas Pandit, but I can't guarantee anything. So Om Ganat Midandasha Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurvain Maha. So before talking about his biography, I just want to mention that we are all called what? Rupa Nugas, because Rupa Goswami is considered to be the primary acharya, even though Sanatana Goswami is an older personality, and actually Rupa Goswami considered Sanatana Goswami to be his Siksha guru. Still, Rupa Goswami is considered the primary acharya after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are called Rupanugas. And there's a wonderful verse, Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gada Mayam Dadati Swa Padantikam. That Rupa Goswami is known as the acharya because Chaitanya Mano Vishtam, because he understood the mind of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You understand? So it's very, very important. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Stapitam. In this way, he was able to establish the principles of Dharma. And of course, Rupa Goswami is known as the Acharya of Abhideya. Now, Abhideya is a very interesting aspect of devotional service because there's three aspects in this particular context. There's Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. And of course, Sanatana Goswami is the Acharya of Sambandha, which basically means establishing what the different tattvas are and the relationships between each other. Very, very important. You have the Jiva Tattva, the Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, basically those three categories, and how they relate to each other. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Shitrakyakya Tata Para Vidya Karma Satyadya Tritir Shakti Ishite. And so that's Sambandha, and Abhideya means what do you do about that information? Or in other words, what's the process of connecting with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and realizing your ontological nature, which according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Jivera Swarupahoy Nitya Krishna Das, the eternal servants of Krishna. So how to realize it completely. And therefore, Rupa Goswami has written so many literatures, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Particularly, there's the literature called the Bhakti Rasam Rita Sindhu, which Srila Prabhupada translated and commented on as the Nectar of Devotion, which Prabhupada said is like the rule book for our Krishna consciousness movement. Basically, Nectar Devotion starts with basic sadhana bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti, and works its way up to prema bhakti, and deals with the rasa theology and bhavas and all those other nice things. Is that? Thank you. You are very kind. You're an ocean of mercy. So anyway, Rupa Goswami, before the biography anyway, so Rupa Goswami is the Acharya of Abhideya. And then finally we have Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who is the Acharya of Prayojana. The topmost aspect of, what happens when you get back to Godhead. All the different aspects of the consciousness of one who is in the spiritual world. So, and of course, Sanatana Goswami worshipped Madan Mohan. Rupa Goswami was Radha Govinda. And of course, Radha Gopinath was installed by Madhu Pandit rather than Raghunath Das Goswami. So anyway, so let's talk about the biography of Rupa Goswami now. So Rupa Goswami appeared roughly in the year 1489, roughly in the year. And so he was born in a family where there were obviously two parents, Kumara Dev and Revati Devi, that's his mother and father, or father and mother. And they had one daughter and 5 sons. And Sanatana, Rupa, and Anupama were the most famous, the ones we know about. And they were all known as pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the biographers state that in the beginning, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were known as Amara and Santosh. Those were their birth names. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later gave them the name of Rupa and Sanatan. However, in the interim, they did work for the Nawab Hussain Shah. And then they got some Muslim names, which are Dabir Kash and Shakara Malik. And Rupa Goswami is called Dabir Kash, which means private secretary. And Sanatana Goswami was known as Shakara Malik, which means the treasurer or the revenue secretary, revenue officer. So the reason they worked for the Muslim government, and actually Srila Prabhupada and the biographers say that they took on many characteristics that were the same as Muslims. In other words, they had beards and everything like that. And they associated and ate. Of course, I'm not saying they ate meat or anything like that, but they would eat in the house of Muslims. And technically, according to our ritualistic understanding, maybe not the Vaishnava understanding, that when eats in the house of someone who is a malecha, then you lose your caste. Prabhupada tells the story about a man who was very, very hungry, and he went into the house of a malecha, and he ate, but there wasn't enough food. And what did he say? He said, I've lost my caste and I'm still hungry. Probably was joking like that. So in other words, it was considered in the ritualistic Brahminical culture there that Rupa and Sanatan had lost their caste. And the only reason they worked for the Muslims was because the Muslim government threatened them, not only them, but threatened all their associates and devotees with violence unless they worked for them. So that's why they worked in this particular way. Basically, they were conscripted into working for the Nawab Hussain Shah. So while they were working with the Nawab Hussain Shah, Rupa Goswami actually still wrote many books about Krishna consciousness. It's stated that actually Rupa Goswami wrote his famous book called the Hansadutta during that particular time. And Sanatana Goswami used to regularly recite the Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's not that they actually became Muslims or gave up their culture or anything like that, but externally to those who simply observed them from the external viewpoint, it appeared that they did. So even while they were there, they settled, of course, in the village called Ramakeli, which at that time was like the capital of Bengal. And that's described by Srila Prabhupada. It's 18 miles southeast of Malda in northern Bengal. And they constructed a replica of Vrindavan. They used to call it Gupta Vrindavan or Hidden Vrindavan. And while they were there, they also became proficient in different languages, Sanskrit, of course, they were already proficient in Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, and other local dialects, of course, in Bengali. We don't need to say that. And they actually studied Sanskrit under Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's brother, whose name was Saravananda Vijaya Vachaspati. And anyways, so this expertise in many different languages helped them later on in their service of, what is this? Dana Shastra Vicharana Kanipano Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarano Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro, as described by Srinivasacharya. In other words, perusing, that's a big word for all of you, examining all the different literatures and also the Muslim literatures, like the Quran, the Hadith, and of course the Vedic literatures and Bible and everything. They were aware of everything, and they were able to establish Nana Shastra Vicharana Sadharma Samstapako. They established the principles of eternal religion, not temporary religious principles. I mean, in every culture you have temporary religious principles. For example, in the culture that I was brought up in, unfortunately, there was a temporary religious principle of how you kill animals, which is called kosher. So that's not Sat Dharma. That's Asat Dharma. Something that's temporary that has nothing to do with eternal religious principles. And of course, we have certain things that we do that are not eternal, such as the way we dress. I like the way we dress. I'm not against dhotis, don't worry. Even though I support Krishna West. Still, it's not eternal. It's not eternal. We don't really know whether they wear dhotis or they wrap their cloth in a different way in the spiritual world. I don't know. But in any case, Sat Dharma means eternal principles that cannot be changed under any circumstances. They're not adjustable according to time, place, and circumstance. So anyway, Sat Dharma Samstapako, so their education in all these different literatures, including the Malacha Shastras, helped them establish eternal religious principles. So in other words, they were in Ramakeli, and what happened is that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the year 1514, decided to go to Vrindavan. And at that particular point, he was accompanied by a large retinue. Actually, it's described thousands of devotees were with him. And so on the way to Vrindavan, he stopped in Ramakeli. But his whole point was to meet Dabir Kash and Shakara Malik and Anupama too. And with the excuse of going to Vrindavan, because actually he didn't go to Vrindavan at that particular time. He went to Vrindavan later. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, Dabir Kash, Shakara Malik, first met Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur, and then they met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When the devotees, when the brothers saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they took bunches of straw and placed them in their teeth, indicating extreme humility. And they prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "You are the most merciful Savior of the fallen souls. All glories to your Supreme Personality." I'm going to read the statements here. "We belong to the lowest class of men," they continued, "and our associates in employment are of the lowest type. Therefore, we feel it strange to introduce ourselves to you." Extreme humility. "We are ashamed, for you are so pure. Dear Lord, let us assure you that no one is more sinful than us, nor is there any offender like us. Since you have specifically incarnated to deliver the fallen souls, please consider that there are none so fallen as the two of us, for we are worse than Jagai and Madai." Now, of course, we know when devotees came to Prabhupada and said, "Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen," Prabhupada said, "You're not the most anything." The reason is because they were proud of being the most fallen. At least I'm something prominent. And Prabhupada wanted to show them, you are not prominent, you are insignificant. So we have to be careful about declaring to people how fallen we are, because usually we're doing that. Why? As a false ego. We want people to think, he's humble. I see that sometimes, when I say to the devotees, I have no good qualities. They say, wow, what a nice sannyasi you are. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that time changed their names to Rupa and Sanatan. And he said specifically, "I have come here for you." Of course, he embraced them at that particular time. And they advised Lord Chaitanya, Rupa and Sanatan advised Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's not appropriate to go to Vrindavan in such a fashion with this large retinue. Basically, he said here's improper etiquette for a sannyasi to travel to a holy place such as Vrindavan with a large retinue. So, of course, we know later on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went only with one servant, well, actually two servants, Balabhadra, Bhattacharya, and then a servant to carry everything. So then, at that particular point, Rupa Goswami, after this, very shortly after this, he was able to renounce this material world and give up his job working for the Nawab Hussain Shah. And Rupa Prabhupada describes, divided up his wealth, which was extraordinary. It's described there were boatloads of gold coins. That's how much wealth he had. He gave 50% to the Brahmins and Vaishnavas, 25% to his relatives, and 25% for personal emergencies, that money was used later on to help Sanatana Goswami, his brother, escape from prison. So then Srila Rupa Goswami again met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this city of Allahabad. And therefore, for 10 days, the two brothers had instructions from Srila Rupa Goswami. And based upon those instructions, Rupa Goswami elaborated or wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and his other literatures. Of course, when Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Allahabad, Prayag, That's when he spoke this particular verse that we're very familiar with. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratasena Maha, which means, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are the most munificent personality. And you were distributing something that no one has distributed before, pure love of God, and you were distributing it freely to everybody. So, very important verse. So I'm not going to go over all the instructions that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Rupa Goswami, but we can read about that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Rupa and Anupama accompanied Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as far as Benares. And of course, we know in Benares is where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Sanatana Goswami, but Rupa did not see Sanatana Goswami at that particular time. And they wanted to continue to associate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you have a mission. You should go to Puri. You should go to Vrindavan. And later on, you can join me in Jagannath Puri. So later on, Rupa Goswami went to Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, on the way, Anupama, his brother, passed away. Anupama was a great devotee of Lord Ramchandra. It's described by Rupa Goswami that Rupa and Sanatan, they tried to teach Anupama to chant Hare Krishna. But he was determined just to chant Sitaram, Sitaram, Raghupati, Raghava, Rajaram, Patita Pavana, Sitaram. And later on, they glorified him for that attachment to his worshipable deity. So anyway, on the way to Jagannath Puri, Rupa Goswami conceived this idea of writing plays, dramatic plays. And so he was going to write a play about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, and one play about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan and Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka. So on the way to Puri, he stopped in this place called Satyabhama Pura. That means the city of Satyabhama. And there, he had a dream, and a very beautiful woman appeared to him in the dream and said, you should write a separate drama about me. Don't keep it in the same drama. So later on, when he arrived in Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually confirmed that there was a vast difference between Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan and Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka, and it would be appropriate to write different literatures. Of course, those literatures were the Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Vidagdha Madhava deals with Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, Lalita Madhava deals with Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka, and it actually connects the two. So those of you who are interested in hearing or reading these literatures, I've done a recitation of both literatures, which are available on ISKCON Desire Tree, and there's actually an app for these things. So Srila Rupa Goswami showed his early drafts of his writing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates like Ramananda Roy were very impressed with Rupa Goswami's dramatic writing. And they were all experts in this particular field. And so these two literatures, which I just mentioned, Vidagdha Madhava, Lalita Madhava, are considered the most important dramatic literatures in our Vaishnava heritage. So Rupa Goswami stayed with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 10 months in Jagannath Puri and received further instructions from him. And then he went back to Vrindavan. And on the way to Vrindavan, he stopped in Bengal, and he divided the remaining wealth up with his relatives. And then he arrived in Vrindavan, and one of the first things he did in Vrindavan was to establish the original deity of Vrindadevi. Vrindadevi, of course, is basically the presiding deity. She's the proprietor of Vrindavan. And in all the Ashtakaliya Leela plays of the Goswamis of Vrindavan and others, she is depicted in a very prominent position. So very, very important personality. And so that deity was originally in Seva Kunj. Those of you who've been in Vrindavan will know where Seva Kunj is, right near the Radha Damodara temple. And that's where all the monkeys are. You're not supposed to go there at night because they say Radha and Krishna are dancing at night, but that's not true. Radha and Krishna are always dancing, but you won't be able to see them. So, we've had devotees who snuck in, spent the night there, thinking they're going to see Radha and Krishna. Because of that offensive attitude, they come out crazy after that. So, Vrindadevi, that Vrindadevi deity has been moved to Kamyavan, which is in western Braj. So, Rupa Goswami one day was very despondent because he was thinking, I have this mission to accomplish for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I haven't done anything. And of course, he had done his literature writing, but there's also establishing the places of pilgrimage and building temples, and he didn't have a deity at that particular point. So one day, as he was feeling despondent, transcendental depression, a young boy approached him, and he told the boy of his mission and why he was so sad. And the boy said, you should follow me. I'm going to take you somewhere. And he led Rupa Goswami to a small hill. And there he told Rupa Goswami, underneath this hill is the deity of Govinda Dev, who was established by Brajanabha, Krishna's great-grandson. And he is hidden there, or was hidden there, when the Muslim invaders came. So every day, the boy explained, and this boy, of course, was Krishna. So every day, a cow comes and, just without anyone milking the cow just stands over the hill and milk pours from the cow. And this is his daily meal that Govinda Dev is taking. So after saying this to Srila Rupa Goswami, the boy just miraculously disappeared. So Rupa Goswami thought, this is not possible. So he came to the same spot the next morning and waited. And the cow eventually came, and he saw the cow, drop all the milk there. And Rupa Goswami became very excited, called all the villagers. They excavated the deity. And under Srila Rupa Goswami's direction, they enthusiastically began to erect a temple and began worship. Of course, that temple was not constructed. The Radha Govinda temple was not actually constructed fully until after Rupa Goswami had left this world. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that this mission was underway and Rupa Goswami was successful in discovering the deity, he sent other devotees to assist Rupa Goswami, like Kashishvara Pandit and other devotees. So later on, under the patronage of the very liberal Mughal Emperor Akbar, the temple was actually constructed, and actually with the help of Maharaj Man Singh, who donated all this sandstone, the temple was actually finished. But this was after Rupa Goswami left the planet. We know later on that this horrible person, Aurangzeb, who was considered to be an incarnation of Kamsa, got really upset because he was in Agra, and from his his house in Agra, he could see the top story, the lamp on the top story of Rupa Goswami's Radha Govinda temple. He got so upset, he sent his soldiers to demolish the temple. They began to demolish the temple. And while they were in the process of demolishing the temple, there was like an earthquake and thunder and lightning and whatever else. And they ran away, and the temple was partially demolished. So, all right, we described Vidagdha Madhava and Lita Madhava. And then, of course, other literatures, such as the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we mentioned before, and then the postgraduate study for the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is called the Ujjala Nilamani, a very, very advanced literature. So Rupa Goswami is considered to be an incarnation of Rupa Manjari. Manjari, of course, means small pre-pubescent girl who assists the principal associates of Srimati Radharani. So generally, Rupa Goswami resided in the final years performing his bhajan in a place called Tera Kadamba. It was a very beautiful place in western Braj, very close to Nandagram. And he had an intense desire to prepare some prasadam, sweet rice, for his deity, and then later on offer it to his brother. It's a famous story. So few moments after Rupa Goswami had been thinking like this, a young, beautiful girl came. And of course, we know the story. She gave him all the ingredients, said, prepare this nice kheer for the deities. So Rupa Goswami did. He took his time and boiled the milk and cooked it down and prepared a very nice condensed sweet drink, kheer, offered it to his deity, and gave the remnants to Sanatan. And when Sanatan ate these remnants, he was overcome with symptoms of ecstasy. Of course, they were always in ecstasy, but this was like double ecstasy or triple ecstasy. You know, sometimes you take prasadam and it's really amazing because the person cooking had good consciousness and the person offering had good consciousness. Actually, prasadam can become more amazing based upon the consciousness of the person cooking it. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's always prasadam. You offer it to Krishna, it's always prasadam. But if it's offered with love and devotion, the desire to please Krishna, then it becomes more relishable. And of course, Mahaprasadam is even more relishable. So anyway, so he offered to Sanatan Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami said, where'd you get these ingredients from? And then he said, well, a nice little girl. She's quite pretty. And Sanatan Goswami said, what did she actually look like? And Rupa Goswami describes it. Uh-oh. That's Srimati Radharani. You should not, because Sanatana Goswami was Rupa Goswami's Siksha Guru, should never accept service from Srimati Radharani. We're meant to serve Srimati Radharani. So from that point again, after this particular incident, Rupa Goswami didn't accept any gifts from people he didn't know. So, anyway, I haven't been able to find any information about the actual disappearance day of Rupa Goswami. I may try to find some, but I didn't. So as far as Rupa Goswami's literatures, this is really important. The books and literatures he compiled. Of course, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu we mentioned, Nectar of Devotion, Ujjala Nilamani, which is called the Sapphire, translated as the Sapphire of Divine Love. The Laghu Bhagavatamrita. It's a summary of the Nectar about Godhead. It's actually a summary of Sanatana Goswami's book, Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Beautiful book. The Vidagdha Madhava, and Lalita Madhava, which we talked about. Stavamala, which translates as the flower garland of prayers. Dana Keli Komudi, we also did a narration of this, which translates as the lotus-like tax-collecting pastimes of Krishna and Radharani. Beautiful, beautiful, but very, very short. Radha Krishna Ganagesh Dipika, that's a description of the associates of Radha and Krishna and their characteristics. Mathura Mahatmya, the glories of Mathura, which is told in the form of a conversation between Lord Boar and the earth goddess. It's amazing literature. Anyway, and there's many Shastric statements there. Uddhava Sandesh, news of Uddhava, and that's a commentary from the Bhagavatam. Hangsaduta, the swan messenger. Shri Krishna Janma Titi Vidi, on Padati, it's worship manual. Nataka Chandrika, the book explaining the rules of Gaudiya Vaishnava dramaturgy, that means how to perform dramas. And Upadeshamrita, which the Prabhupada considered to be very important, and now we have to end. Sorry we didn't get to Gauridas Pandit. Muslims, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they appeared, with beards and everything like that. Even when Sanatana Goswami escaped from prison, went through the mountains and everything, and joined Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Benares, and he knocked on the door at Chandrasekhar, and he was, when he answered the door, they said, oh, there's a Muslim mendicant here. He looked exactly like a Muslim mendicant. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what? Cut it off. And Prabhupada said his followers are always what? Clean shaven. It's called Keshava Hin. For those of you who don't know what that means without kesh, without hair. And therefore, when you're Keshava Hin, you can worship who? Keshava, who is Krishna with long black hair, right? And also the word Keshava can mean Ka Isha, the Lord of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Did you know that? Ka Isha. So that's another meaning of the word Keshava. Interesting. Keshava, Kesha Hin. Does that make sense? At least Keshava Hin on the chin. Okay, I think we got too far.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Bhago Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Visyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Amaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govindam.
Jai Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Bhagavan. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Shai Makunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan. Shai Makunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan. Kalende Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhan. Kalende Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahaprabhan. Isigatapam Shivada Dwadasakana Isigatapam Shivada Dwadasakana Yakhasama Lila Koela Sinananda Yakhasama Lila Koela Sinananda. She not good soda Jaya Jaya Tubak She Nanda Yashoda Jaya Jaya Gopakaran Shinamade Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsa Shamani Jaya Jaya Denubasaka Jaya Krishna Manujaya Kichira Sundari Jaya Krishna Manujaya Kichira Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhira Nakari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Jaya Nakari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavana Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavana Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhakti Twish Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhakti Twish Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavasi Yatsat Janda Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jata Jana Jaya Jaya Vijapatni Jaya Nakakanyakan Jaya Vijapatni Jaya Nakakanya Matiche Yakara Poelo Govinda Juragan Matiche Yakara Poelo Govinda Shirasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radhacham Shirasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radhacham Jaya Jaya Rasa Lila Sabam Manoram Jaya Jaya Rasa Lila Sabam Manoram Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sara Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sara Parakiva Bhavayana Rajate Prachara Parakeya Bhaveja Brajate Raja Shri Janavapada Padma Korea Smarana Shri Janavapada Padma Korea Smarana Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Inama Sankirtan Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Inama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Matana Muhan Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Raja Golokinananan Hagolokinanadragate Jaya Raja Golokinananan Hagolokinanadragate Jaya Raja Hey, Rade, 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 Radhe, 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 Radhe. Radhe, Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa.